Rob DiPietro has a pair of goals in the form in Montreal. The Canadiens leading the Dallas Stars by a score of 5-2. Pierre Paget and the Nordiques against the Hartford Whalers tonight. Mike Ricci set up in front of Frank Pietrangelo here. No chance for Pietrangelo. It's 1-0 Quebec. But Hartford comes back. Randy Cunneyworth one-times a shot behind Stefan Bissett right here. And it is in the net.
Here it comes. He swung, fouled the ball. He swung at the ball and missed it. The ball gets away from the catcher, and Henrik goes to first. And now let's see whether the umpire is going to decide he fouled it or whether it was a clean strike.
It was a clean strike with 2 outs and nobody on at the top of the 9th inning. The Dodgers were leading 4-3 when catcher Mickey Owen couldn't come up with that 3rd strike pitch. It allowed Tommy Henrik to reach first base and open the doors for the Yankees comeback. They scored 4 runs in the inning, won the game 7-4 to take a 3-1 lead in the series. The pitcher was Hugh Casey. The pitcher here is Roger Mason, now back in a tie ball game. And facing Tony Fernandez, who fouled the first pitch away. Now a ball. Fernandez, an offensive start tonight for Toronto. You can say that about just about everybody. He has 2 singles, 3 runs batted in. He has scored a run. He's 2 for 2.
Every time I see that clip of Mickey Owen reaching into the glove, and everybody talks about how catchers nowadays, because of the new mitts with the split in the mitt, that they've become one-handed catchers. Mickey Owen, had he had a mitt like that, probably makes that catch easier. Should say easily. Bill Dickey told me that until you become a one-handed catcher, you're not a proficient catcher. And I found that to be true. Darren Dalton with the split in the mitt. Catchers use that almost like a first baseman's mitt now, but there are the critics that say that catchers reach for too many balls. They don't get their body in front of it. But if you combine the two, the new mitts and the body in good positioning, then that's the proper defensive setup as Mason gets Fernandez for the first out here in the 5th inning.
First time Fernandez has been retired tonight. It's the 2nd strikeout for Roger Mason. Has now retired 5 in a row. That Borders the hitter. Line foul. And misplayed by the ball girl in left. But it was a tough chance. And it gave Bill Thompson the opportunity to make a friend in the stand. Borders singled and drove in a run in the 3rd. Inning in which the Blue Jays scored 4 times to take a 7-6 lead. The Phillies tied it with a run in the bottom of the 4th.
Blue Jays, in existence since 1977, have been remarkably successful. They finished last the first 6 years, and the last 11 years have finished over 500.
That is far and away the longest active streak of consecutive winning seasons.
1 world championship in 17 years for the Blue Jays. 1 world championship in 110 years for the Phillies.
Ball inside. We could certainly make an argument for the Blue Jays organization as the best in baseball. Pat Gillick and his staff do a tremendous job. They have outstanding prospects in the minor leagues and have had that for many years. They do things in a very first-class manner. Of course, they have a lot of money with which to work, owned by a brewery. They draw over 4 million fans. They have national TV contracts in Canada in addition to the money that they get from the national TV contracts with CBS and ESPN.
But organizations have proven that just to have the money, that's not enough.
That's for sure.
New York Mets lost 103 games this year. The New York Yankees haven't been to postseason play since 1981. The Dodgers haven't seen postseason play since 1988. Wealthy clubs.
Leiter down the left field line. Fair ball. Bouncing into the corner. Retrieved by Thompson. And Al Leiter has a double.
is only the 5th hit by an American League pitcher since 1979. Tim Stoddard of the Orioles had a hit. And then Mike Moore in the 1989 series had a double as Leiter doubles down the line. And then David Cone last year for the Toronto Blue Jays had 2 hits in 1 game.
In game 2. So Leiter represents the go-ahead run at second base with 2 outs in the 5th inning for Ricky Henderson, who has doubled, popped out, and won. Ball 1 from Roger Mason. For the most part, since 1976, pitchers on both sides have not been a factor. Tim mentioned only 4 hits for the American League pitchers since then, prior to the hit by Leiter. National League pitchers have only had 9 hits since 1976. A ball and a strike on Henderson.
Easily over the inside corner. Ricky Henderson, we mentioned in game 1, he has that accordion strike zone. He keeps going up and down, much the same as Lenny Dykstra does from the other side of the plate. Very small strike zone.
Ricky was hit on the left elbow by a pitch last night. A solid hit on the elbow, but Cecil Gaston told us before the game tonight. Ricky told him the elbow feels just fine. 7-7 the score. 5th inning. 2 outs. Al Leiter, the runner at second. 2 balls and a strike on Henderson. Past the mound. Duncan shovels out at first. All in one motion. Duncan picked it up with the glove and flipped it to Kruk. And they just did get Ricky Henderson to end the inning.
Terrific play by Mariano Duncan. He didn't need the bare hand, just the glove. Glove to glove.
The World Series on CTV. Sponsored by Honda, the official car of the Toronto Blue Jays for the past 17 years.
You didn't feel compromised by having a family. And we promise you won't feel compromised by our family sedan. Leap year from Honda. Cheese, please.
Isn't it nice to have a taste for life?
Canadian cheese, please.
You say hi, and I say hello. Hello, hello. I don't know why you say goodbye. I say hello. Hello.
Now Air France has joined Air Canada to bring you more of the world, along with Continental and United Airlines. Say hello, world!
How do I know which coffee to get?
Just look for Juan Valdez.
Right.
Buenos dias.
I just saw Juan Valdez.
Of course. He's on every pack of Colombian coffee. When you see him, you know you're getting the richest coffee in the world.
Oh.
If you want 100% Colombian coffee, just look for Juan Valdez. You can't miss him.
A remarkable play to end the 5th inning by Mariano Duncan to just get Ricky Henderson right there. Ball's in the glove, hand is not on the bag. We talked about the gloves of a catcher. Sometimes the larger gloves for an infielder can be an impediment to making a play like that because the ball gets hung up in the web often. Ricky thought he was safe, but as you could see, he was out.
Tim McClelland of the American League is the first base umpire. So halfway through the ball game, we're tied at 7. And Dave Hollins leads off. He's a switch hitter, a much better hitter right-handed. He hit almost 100 points higher from the right side this year. He walked and scored in the first. Popped out to the catcher Borders in the second. Al Leiters pitched 2 innings of relief. He's allowed 1 run. A bunt and a good one. Molitor not in time. That was Molitor's first chance on a bounding ball down at third base, and he handled it cleanly, but simply had no chance to get Hollins on a good bunt.
Playing deep, and he does make a nice play on the ball. So even though Molitor did not get the out, possibly that primed him for a play later on in the ball game, as Hollins becomes the first Philly to take advantage of Molitor defensively.
And Hollins has been struggling. That might be what it'll take to get him going.
Sure.
Darren Dalton, another one, mired in a slump. Jim Fregosi hates the word slump. He prefers to use the term mix-ups. The league agreed before the game that Hollins and Dalton are experiencing mix-ups. Breaking ball for a strike, 1-1 on Dalton.
Well, and during the season, it is a mix-up. But in the World Series, in Game 4, it's a slump.
Well hit down the right field line. Carter drifting toward the pole. Home run. Perhaps that's the end of the mix-up for Darren Dalton. A 2-run homer, and the Phillies are back on top 9-7.
How do you get out of a slump? Catch a slider on the sweet part. Dalton, with awesome strength, muscles the ball out and right and gives the Phillies the lead again.
And Eisenreich bunts the other way. A good bunt. Alomar can't make the play. He tried to duplicate the play made by Duncan, but Eisenreich has a bunt hit. So 2 bunt hits in the inning with the home run by Dalton sandwiched in between.
Hollins started the inning with a bunt down the third baseline, and now it's Eisenreich's turn. Way too late. Olerud misses the ball, and Cito Gaston wants to talk to Al Leiter now.
He has given up 3 straight hits here in the inning. 5 of the last 6 Phillies who have batted have had a hit. 2 of the 3 hits in this inning, bunt singles. Eisenreich's hit his first of the night. The entire infield, with the exception of Fernandez, is involved in the conference of the mound. There is no action in the soaking wet Toronto bullpen. The rain has not dampened the spirits of the 62,000 plus of the vet tonight.
Milt Thompson here. Normally, with the pitcher coming up, he'd be the 3rd hitter from Thompson. You wouldn't do that. But David West is up and throwing for the Phillies. Jim Fregosi telling us that he most likely would be the guy up tonight after Roger Mason.
Down the left field line, Milt Thompson has a hit. Eisenreich streaking toward third as Henderson plays it. He's waved around. Eisenreich will score. And the Phillies lead 10-7, a double for Milt Thompson.
sometimes in a meaningless game, a guy can get an opportunity to play the next night. In the blowout last night, the only time Thompson hit, he hit a home run. That gave him the entree to play tonight, and he's driven in 4 runs with a bases-loaded triple and now a run-scoring double. But were it not for that home run last night, Incaviglia may have been the left fielder this evening. Terrific night for Milt Thompson.
4 straight hits in the inning, the last 3 by left-handed hitters against the lefty Leiter. Stocker, a switch hitter. Bats from the right side. He's 0 for 2 tonight. 0 for 1 against Leiter. He popped out against Al in the 4th. And the first pitch fouled away.
You could see Stocker trying to go to the right side, and the reason for that is Roger Mason is no longer in the game, or won't be, once the pitcher spot comes up, because Ricky Jordan is on the on-deck circle.
Still nobody out. 5th inning, 10-7 Philadelphia. They've taken the lead with a field goal here in the 5th. Oh, 2 the count on Stocker. Bear in mind that the man warming up in the bullpen, David West, has never retired a batter in World Series play. Stocker down to 3rd. Nice play by Molitor for the first out of the inning. It was hit sharply. Molitor fielded it, looked the runner back, and made the throw to Olerud, and it was right on the money.
Paul Molitor has played only 3 games at third base in the 90s. He played 112 games there in 1989, but he has such marvelous instincts. Situation where he's a terrific base runner, so he knew the base runner would come over if he didn't look him back. What could be a routine play for a lot of third basemen, it's understandable that it's not for Molitor this evening.
Ricky Jordan batting for Mason. Jordan 2 for 9 with a couple of singles. And West will be the new pitcher when we go to the top of the 6th. The Phillies will have at least a 3-run lead. It is raining very hard now. What was a drizzle all night is now a very steady and significant rainfall. And umbrellas pop up everywhere. The man charged with stopping the game, he deems it necessary, is Dave Phillips, the crew chief, the third base umpire tonight. Fernandez throws out the pinch hitter Jordan for the 2nd out.
There has never been a rain-shortened official game in World Series play. But it is really coming down here. Once the Phillies record their 3rd out, this game is official. It's actually official right now.
Dykstra the batter. And he looked at a ball inside. He's been on base all 3 times tonight and has scored 3 times. He walked, stole second, and scored in the first, and a 2-run homer in the second. Just missed a home run with a double off the wall and right in the 4th and scored again. And he hits one deep to right. Forget about it. Way out of here. What a night for Lenny Dykstra. His 2nd home run. He's driven in 4. He scored 4 times. And the Phillies lead 12-7.
he just missed a home run by 3 feet his last time up. 2 home runs, a double, 4 RBIs, 4 runs scored, and we're in the 5th inning.
So Al Leiter, who was so impressive in relief in gaining the win in Game 1, has been pounded by the Phillies tonight. Gave up 1 run last inning and 5 here in the 5th. And just as Stottlemyre stayed in to absorb a beating, Leiter continues on. Two home runs tonight. 9 for his career in the postseason. And a count of 1-2 on Duncan. We should know that Lenny Dykstra has fewer postseason at-bats than any of the players whose names you saw on that list. It is an official game, and the heavy rain has subsided back to the light, persistent nuisance drizzle. Duncan stings one through the middle. His second hit of the night. And the Phillies have batted around in the 5th inning against Al Leiter. And here comes Cito Gaston. 6 hits in the inning, 5 runs, a runner at first as Leiter departs, to be replaced by Mark Eichhorn. With the score, Philadelphia 12 and Toronto 7. We'll return to Veterans Stadium right after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, let the good times roll.
Over and over again, people ask me what I believe in. It's very simple. I believe in the people of Canada. I believe in the rights to dignity and security. I believe that they should go to bed at night without worrying whether or not they will have a job in the morning, whether or not their children will have a future. I believe in my plan. I believe in my people. I believe we will make a difference.
I'm dangerous. Nice shot. Help us, Musketeers.
All for one!
More for me. I love a good adventure.
The excitement strikes November 12th. The Three Musketeers.
My life isn't about throwing money around. It's about hanging on to it. It's not about owning a $40,000 car. It's about owning a good car. It's not how much something costs that matters to me. It's how well it works. Look, don't tell me what I want. Show me you've got what I need.
This is on tape moments ago. Cito Gaston arguing with the umpires, and that's Mark Eichhorn, who came in from the bullpen, and apparently the wrong pitcher came in. It looked for a while, based on the way Gaston was arguing, that they were going to make Eichhorn stay, but they allowed Cito to send Eichhorn back to the bullpen, and Tony Castillo has been summoned. We didn't even see Castillo down there warming up in the bullpen.
No, nor did we see Cito Gaston touch his left arm. Usually if a left arm if a left-hander and a right-hander are warming up, a manager will go to the arm that he prefers, and Cito Gaston's argument was that he was going to the left-hander. And now Jim Fregosi is being apprised of those moves, but Eichhorn obviously was not in the game.
Let's go back. Here is Cito Gaston coming out with the hook for Al Leiter. And he did gesture with his left hand, pointed to his left arm, and then pointed to the bullpen with his left. So he did send out the call for Castillo. The wrong man simply ran in. We understand that Jim Fregosi's conversation with the umpires pertains to the bullpen phones not working, and that was part of the problem. Apparently they could not communicate by phone.
Sean, we were kidding earlier about double figures for both teams. I still feel like that is a distinct possibility. A lot of time left for the Blue Jays to get in double figures, but look at the run total in the 4 games. Only the Cubs and the Yankees in 1932 have scored more runs than the first 4 games in this series, and we still have a lot of baseball left. Man, a lot of balls hit hard tonight.
Yes, indeed. We're only in the 5th inning. Tony Castillo warming up. If you're wondering the record for runs in a single World Series game of any length, extra innings, 9 innings, all encompassing, 22 runs. So we're already at 19. With a long way to go. 22 runs scored by the Yankees and Giants in 1936. Game 2 of the World Series won by the Yankees over the Giants 18-4.
Now, I don't think anybody watching tonight would pick the under.
Let's check in with Jim Gray.
All right, the problem which has occurred is Cito Gaston wanted a left-hander to come to the game, but his telephone down to the bullpen was not working. So he came out to the mound and signaled for a left-hander, except for there was no one warming up. So the umpires all convened, and they've decided to give the Toronto Blue Jays just as much time as they need to warm up a left-hander. Let's go back upstairs to Sean.
Yes, and that's why we didn't see a left-hander out there, because there wasn't one warming up. And Tony Castillo will get as much time as he needs because of the malfunction of the bullpen phone. And the way the night has gone for the pitchers, he may never throw a pitch in earnest in this game. He'll probably still be warming up at 2 a.m. Tonight on The Late Show with David Letterman. Isn't that an interesting segue? Dave's guests are Dan Rather, actress Penelope Ann Miller, and the musical group the Gin Blossoms. That's later tonight, probably much later, on The Late Show with David Letterman here on CBS. Now all of the umpires, with the exception of the plate umpire Charlie Williams, are conferring out by the shortstop position. And we have been told that both teams have been issued walkie-talkies that they can use to communicate with the bullpens. Well, what else could happen tonight? 12 runs, 11 hits for Philadelphia, 7 runs, 9 hits for Toronto. We're in the 5th inning. When play resumes, Philadelphia will have Mariano Duncan at first base with 2 outs and John Kruk at the plate. Darren Dalton, a 2-run homer much earlier in this inning off Al Leiter, who worked 2 2/3. Thus far charged with 6 runs all earned on 8 hits, including 2 home runs in this inning. The other 2-run homer by Dykstra. Leiter didn't walk anybody. He struck out 1.
Let's take a look at the 2 home runs by Lenny Dykstra in the 2nd inning off Todd Stottlemyre, the starter, about 5 feet fair. And most recently off Al Leiter. And I mean, he hit that one a ton. And again, he just missed a home run by about 3 feet. So 2 homers, a double, a walk, 4 RBIs, 4 runs scored, and a stolen base. And he's a guy, 7 years ago when he came into the major leagues that people used to refer to as a little pepper pot.
That is correct. In fact, it was a man named Howard Cosell who termed him that. We congratulate Howard and Marty Glickman for their recent selection, induction to the American Sportscasters Association Hall of Fame. John Kruk, the batter. Back in our direction, 1 strike. Of course, ordinarily we'd just go ahead and write it down. Lenny Dykstra is the Chevrolet most valuable player of the game tonight, but not with the way this game is going. There are a lot of others who are competing for that honor. And they've done it all without anything from Kruk. He's 0 for 3. There's the leading hitter in the series coming into tonight. With all this offense on both sides, Kruk does not have a hit. He has struck out, bounced to second, and line to right. Tony Castillo, native of Lara, Venezuela. Missed with a breaking ball.
Talked about Cito Gaston's game plan tonight to start Stottlemyre and then have Leiter as the starter at large. Didn't work out.
Well, to this point, have each been charged with 6 runs.
Robert E. Lee said ideas are easy to conceive, but less easy to execute. And I think that's the case so far tonight for the Blue Jays.
The runner goes, and the ball dropped by Borders. So Duncan has a stolen base, his first of the game and second of the World Series.
People might think, well, with a 5-run lead, is it time to call off the dogs? Not in a game like this. I think you open things up. No lead is safe. Duncan running, and Borders actually thought he caught the ball. He reached in to grab it, but it was trickling behind him.
Now a runner in scoring position, and the count has gone full on Kruk. Duncan takes off on the 3-2 pitch, and Alomar retires Kruk. A long inning for Philadelphia. The Phillies get 5. They had 2 2-run homers by Dykstra and Dalton. 12-7.
This is CTV. Join us for the glorious celebration of the Olympic Winter Games.
To some, it was a contradiction. The notion of converting the smallest amount of liquid resources into pure power. Some dabbled with it, approached it, surrounded it. But Honda made it happen. VTEC, high efficiency power. Deep air from Honda.
No heat pasteurizing and no added preservatives. It's Canada's own cold-filtered Labatt Genuine Draft.
Discover the SO Tiger. Spirit of service.
Bungalow someplace. You know, your own backyard.
Not renting. Right?
A bank that understands how hard it is to save for a down payment.
Now we can save for a house while using a credit card.
Well, it's nice to know we're getting something out of it.
I see a barbecue in the backyard.
I see a swing set.
You're not,
Labatt presents the World Series on CTV. Sponsored by Honda, the official car of the Toronto Blue Jays for the past 17 years.
There's bullpen coach John Sullivan of the Blue Jays with the walkie-talkie. The bullpen phones are not operating at the moment. And chances are there isn't anybody out in the bullpen who would want to answer the phone the way this game has gone anyway. There's some relief pitchers hoping those walkie-talkies go on the fritz. Ordinarily, you'd like David West's chances of improving his World Series career ERA because it is infinity. In the 91 World Series and this one combined, he's faced 8 batters without retiring anybody. He pitched in 2 games for Minnesota in 91. And all totaled, he's given up 6 runs in his World Series appearances without recording an out. His ERA is infinity. They're trying to get the monkey off his back. He comes into this setting. 12-7 after 5.
I thought we showed Rescue 911 last night.
Devon White rings one down the line. So West throws one pitch. And it's another hit against him in World Series play. Devon White, a bullet of a double along the ground and down the left field line leading off the 6th.
Well, I mean, this is a low tracer by the drawn-in Dave Hollins. By him before he has a chance to go to his right. By the time he moved to his right, the ball was by him. Check the reaction. Players refer to that as a seed. That was a seed down the left field line.
And Devon White has 2 more hits tonight. 6 for the World Series. The World Series record has allowed the first 9 batters that he has faced in World Series competition to reach. Giants pitcher Hal Schumacher allowed 8 consecutive men to reach safely in the 33 and 36 World Series. And the beat goes on. Here comes White around third to make it 12-8. 2 pitches and 2 hits off West. The second by Roberto Alomar. His second hit of the night. First RBI of the night. 5th of the series. And here comes Johnny Padres to speak to West.
So far tonight, it is almost as though the players have been hitting the ball off tees. There have been as hard to hit balls in this 5+ innings as I've seen in a long time.
And that ties the record for most runs combined over the first 4 games of a World Series. Blue Jays and Phillies with 56 runs combined in the first 4 games. Still a long way to go tonight.
One of the strange things about this game, 12-8 in the top of the 6th inning, no errors on a wet field.
Joe Carter, the batter. He had a single in the first inning and scored. He's popped out twice since then. There are other pitchers who have an ERA of infinity for their World Series career, but none of them have allowed as many runs as David West. He's now allowed 7. Or check that, 6. He had 5 allowed coming into tonight. 2-0 the count on Carter. His first 2 pitches were strikes that were ripped for hits. His next 2 balls to Carter. Oldroot on deck. There's a strike. There has been some speculation that lately West is tired. He's unaccustomed to being a relief pitcher. He appeared in 76 games during the regular season. But David disavows that theory. Says, I am not tired. Fatigue has nothing to do with it. Bobby Thigpen warms up.
I think it should be pointed out that if it weren't for David West, the Phillies probably don't reach postseason play.
He was terrific all year long as the left-handed setup man, combining with Larry Anderson with the right side to help Jim Fregosi get to Mitch Williams. And it is. Eisenreich makes the catch. Alomar tagged. And that brings David West's World Series ERA down to 162. He has pitched a third of an inning officially now in World Series competition, over 4 appearances, and has been charged with 6 earned runs. It's a big number, but it's a heck of a lot better than infinity. Now Olerud. 12-8 Philadelphia in the 6th inning. Alomar at first. Olerud to left. Long run for Thompson. He won't get it. Alomar on his way to third. Olerud will stop at first. And all of a sudden the Blue Jays have the tying run in the on-deck circle. And Olerud has his first hit of the night.
A little slicer down the left field line, and Thompson makes a nice play to hold Olerud to a single. At least the double play is still in order. And I think you're going to say that again, tying run in the on-deck circle. I think you will make that comment again before this game's over.
Paul Molitor, the batter. He walked with the bases loaded to collect an RBI in the first. He singled and scored in the third. Fly to right in the fourth. Tony Fernandez. Potential tying run in the on-deck circle. The Blue Jays are now out hitting the Phillies 12-11. Out. Hit him on the knee.
Well, that sounded like it hit bone. You could hear that from up here.
It looked live, and of course tough to tell with a pitch of that velocity, is if it hit him right on the knee.
Right on the kneecap, it appeared. Oh boy. Mentioned last night with Ricky Henderson hitting, the ball was a glancing blow that hit Henderson on the left elbow, and this appeared to be a glancing blow that hit Paul Molitor. And he appears to be all right. Those balls that hit you and land about 3 or 4 feet from you are the ones that really hurt. They seem to stick in there a little longer. Paul appears to be all right.
Cito Gaston's concern was that he'd hurt himself in the field, unaccustomed to playing third base. That brings the tying run to the plate with 1 out in the 6th. 12-8 Philadelphia. And Tony Fernandez will be the batter. We're waiting for Molitor to get ready at first base. Fernandez a 2-run single in the first, an RBI single in the third, and a run scored. And he struck out swinging against Mason in the 5th. You wonder if Mason had reached the end of the line because he had pitched 2 2/3 innings of scoreless relief. Of late, he's been their best middle and long reliever. But Jim Fregosi, already ahead in the game, elected to hit for him for more offense.
And Jim told us that David West would be the 3rd pitcher tonight following Mason if Tommy Green got in trouble. Now there again, Fregosi going back to the season, and he understands that West hadn't retired anybody in World Series play, but he's not going to let that affect his selection. And how can you? Who else are you going to go to, really, when you think about it?
Unless you let Mason in. Of course, we don't know if he was about out of gas after 2 2/3. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Fernandez.
I think what Fregosi was thinking also in a game like this, what you're trying to do is outscore the opposition. You know it's not going to be any one-run affair unless it's 15-14 or a game like that, the way this game's going.
The 1-2 is low. Pat Borders is on deck. It's a big reason why Fernandez has 7 runs batted in. lead all players in this World Series. West, 29 years old, from Memphis, Tennessee. He's pitched in the organizations of the New York Mets and the Minnesota Twins. His 2-2 is slashed foul. Toronto sent 8 men to the plate in the first inning, 9 men in the third, and Fernandez is the 6th batter of the 6th, and there is still just 1 out. West has given up 3 hits in this inning, and he has hit a batter. Another 2-2 pitch. Chopped over the mound slowly. They won't get 2. They may not get 1. They just barely did it first. Fernandez out. Alomar in. And it's 12-9. And Tony Fernandez has his 4th RBI of the game.
All the Phillies wanted was an out. They take the double play. Obviously, the way this game's going, every out is so huge and so tough to come by.
So the Blue Jays have scored twice off David West here in the 6th. And they have 2 more in scoring position with 2 outs, and Pat Borders coming up. And Jim Fregosi has had Bobby Thigpen throwing in the bullpen. But West will continue on to pitch to Borders, who's 1 for 3 with an RBI single. That was in the 3rd. He's the tying run at the plate in a 12-9 game in the 6th inning. And these 2 teams are now 1 run away from the highest scoring game in World Series history. Sprague is in the on-deck circle with the pitcher Castillo due to bat next. Borders ahead 2-0. To right center. Eisenreich hesitated, then had to pick it back up. He put it away, and that ends the inning. The Blue Jays get 2 and will return to Veterans Stadium after this message and a word from your local station.
A CTV News Update, brought to you by Canadian Tire. Here is Lloyd Robertson.
Good evening. Some stories we're following. Election countdown. Kim Campbell says she still has a chance. And Reform leader Preston Manning is ready for a minority government. Liberal vision of national unity. Jean Chrétien tells us in a CTV interview, jobs are the answer. Back after this.
It happens about 52 times a year, generally after the 2nd cup of coffee. It's called Saturday. And for a lot of people, it means a trip to Canadian Tire, where Canadians can buy products they're proud to own at the price they want to pay. Top quality, guaranteed low prices. Maybe that's why people have been coming back for over 70 years of Saturdays. And all the other fine days, too. There's a lot more to Canadian Tire for a lot less.
Also tonight, surprise verdicts in the Reginald Denny case in Los Angeles. We'll have details later on the CTV News.
Out here isn't the only place our Ford F-Series pickups have blazed new trails. Our engineering labs are filled with constant improvements like our new standard airbag and new convertible console seat. And yet, along with all these new ideas, there's one that's not new for us at all: toughness. Because when you design a truck for the future, it better be built to last that long. Ford F-Series, the #1 selling truck, is built Ford tough.
Read my lips, no.
Another friend wanting Super Bowl tickets? Please don't call me. Pick up a case of Bud or call this number. In every specially marked case of Bud, there's a scratch and win card. Get a winning card and you've won 2 tickets to the Super Bowl. Hotel and cash included. Of course, if your sister's husband did go to school with the guy who used to feed my next-door neighbor's cousin's goldfish, give me a shout. But your chances are better playing the Bud Big events. No!
I'll tell you what. Mike Schmidt threw out the first ball before last night's game. 548 career home runs, 3 times the MVP, and he joins us here in the booth. And on a night like tonight, you must want to grab a bat and go back up there to the plate.
I don't know about that, Sean, but it is a great hitter's ball game. You know, we haven't seen one in a while, at least when both teams are knocking the ball all around. And I don't think we're done yet, Timmy. What do you think? 12-9? I don't think it's going to end that way.
No, we're picking the over, Sean and I.
There are people tuning in.
14-13, you know, 16-14. We've been involved in a few of those.
I'll tell you there are 2 games that I remember. You against the Chicago Cubs.
Right.
You had 4 home runs in April of a 1976 game. And
Great memory.
In that game, we were behind 13-2 with nobody on and 1 out in the 6th inning. Mike hit his first home run off Rick Russell. He hit his 4th home run off Paul Russell to win it for us in the 10th inning. We win 18-16, and the other game was in Chicago when we won 23-22, and the score after 1 was 8-7.
How do you remember these things? Vivid details.
I played in both those
He does
games.
research. Look at all this stuff right here. He knew I might be on tonight.
That's right. I knew it was going to be this type of game.
Good seeing you guys. You want me to stick around?
Absolutely.
Hey, you need a little help. All right.
We're going to be here a while, Michael.
Dave Hollins rings one to left center. White watches it fly off the wall and a hop. And Hollins on the first pitch of the bottom of the 6th has a double.
Timmy, you described that. I think you're supposed to jump in right there.
This is a tracer to left center, another one. Perhaps the best thing that happened to Dave Hollins was the bunt single in the 5th inning that opened the door to 5 runs scored by the Phillies.
Hey, if I could comment on that, I'm sitting with Robin Roberts. At the time, it was 7-7. This is your cleanup hitter, right?
Right.
Not a bad play if you're 2 or 3 runs down. Cleanup hitter, drop a bunt and get on. But 7-7, and bingo, that started this whole thing off.
Sure did, with Molitor at 3rd, taking advantage of it.
Dalton followed that bunt single last inning. It seems a lot longer ago than that, with a 2-run homer. That got the Phillies off and running toward a 5-run 5th. They lead 12-9 after Toronto got 2 in the 6th. The hits are now even at 12 apiece. That's the first off Castillo. That's sliced to left. And Ricky Henderson in fair territory made the catch. 1 out. And Hollins back to 2nd. We're at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. Sellout crowd of 62,000 watching a slugfest in Game 4 of the World Series. Toronto leads 2-1, but in Game 4, Philadelphia has a 12-9 lead. Sean McDonough with Tim McCarver, Pat O'Brien and Jim Gray, and joined in the booth at the moment by Mike Schmidt, one of the 4 Phillies who has had his number retired. Jim Eisenreich, been on base twice with a walk and a bunt single. He has scored twice and driven in 1.
Timmy, you probably talked, you know, I go to bed around 10:15 every night. So I miss a little the end of these games occasionally. Have you discussed Eisenreich's health problem that he rebounded from and came back?
Oh, absolutely. We covered that in the first 2 games.
Hollins running on the pitch. Eisenreich fouled it off. Mike is referring to the battle with Tourette syndrome waged by Eisenreich that caused him to leave professional baseball in the better part of 4 years. Eisenreich said he never lost sight of his dream with medication to stabilize his situation. He's back in the big leagues and playing in the World Series.
4 years. Let's see. I retired in '89. This is '93. I think maybe his muscles and bones were a little younger at the time, so I forget it.
No thoughts of coming back.
Yeah, having too much fun, Sean.
The 1-1 is popped up right in the middle of the infield, and Borders makes the catch. And And along the main concourse here at the vet, the Phillies Hall of Fame. And a fan caught eyeing the plaque of Mike Schmidt.
And in a couple of years, it's going to be another Hall of Fame for Mike Schmidt.
And Timmy, isn't next year Steve Carlton's eligibility year?
Lefty will be eligible next year.
I think maybe you and I might have to get a reservation up there.
I think
August next.
I think that's a good point.
I know you will.
Oh, absolutely.
You might be doing part of that speech, right? Have you started writing a speech?
No, I haven't.
Thompson off the glove of Alomar, waved around his Hollins, and he will score. (13-9) Philadelphia. And will await the scoring. They have scored a hit from Milt Thompson, a smash that was sharply struck, but ordinarily Alomar comes up with that one.
Yeah, he really does. And with a man on second and 2 outs, what an infielder wants to do is knock the ball down and prevent the runner from scoring from second. But on this slick turf, I guess it's more forgivable than under ordinary circumstances.
That's a good point. Milt sure has come up big in the postseason. I mean, the catch in Atlanta that could have turned the postseason around for the Phillies. That catch in itself.
And Jim Fregosi deserves credit for putting him back in the starting lineup tonight. Thompson now is lacking only the home run to hit for the cycle. He's driven in 5 runs tonight with a triple, double, and single.
Well, he had the home run his last time up last night.
That's right. It's the cycle in his last 5 at bats.
It's pretty strong. Some real strong offensive performances. You know what happens in games like this is everybody's getting off. You know what I mean? All the hitters have hits. They all feel good. There's really not anybody in the game pressing at this moment for a hit. Everybody's getting their knocks and getting their punches in, and it's really a hitter's game. It's going to be. It's not over.
That's why the bullpen pitchers broke the telephones out there, so the call can't reach them.
Timmy, you know how easy it is to hit in that 4th at bat when you already got 3 hits?
Absolutely. Feel comfortable and locked in, and nobody in the world can get you out. And that's how the hitters are feeling right now.
How do you feel if you're Kevin Stocker and you're 0 for 3? The way this game has gone.
Eventually, you're going to get a couple of knocks.
The record has been tied with the 22 runs in this ball game. It ties not only a World Series record, but a postseason record. Most runs in any postseason game. Game 2 and 36 in this game tonight.
My guess is we're going to go to 30 hits here before the night's over, Sean.
Only 5 away.
This record may never be broken in our lifetime.
25 hits between the two teams. 22 runs. Still no errors. The run in this inning, the first charge to Castillo. In the 6th, 13-9 Phillies, and a ball just outside. It's ball 4. Believe it or not, that's the first walk thrown by Toronto pitchers since Stottlemyre walked 4 in the first inning.
Timmy, do you have any remembrances early when Stottlemyre was pitching of the Bert Hooton game?
I sure did. We talked about it last night. October 7th, 1977, when the Dodgers had scored the 3 runs in the top of the first inning to take a 3-0 lead. And by the 3rd, the crowd had become so rambunctious here at Veterans Stadium that they actually booed Bert Hooton out of the ballpark, and Hooton has admitted that.
That's right. He couldn't come near home plate. I mean, he could come near the strike zone. And Robin and I were also talking about that. In fact, I was wondering why somebody didn't jump out of the dugout and say, "Scream louder, scream louder."
Yeah, right. Even though that hasn't been the case tonight, I don't think the crowd has really been involved in the performance of the Phillies, other than the bottom of the first inning when the Phillies came back on that hit by Milt Thompson, the bases loaded triple.
Cito Gaston at the mound. Wes Chamberlain has been introduced as a pinch hitter for the pitcher West. And there is no action in the bullpen for Toronto. And they've allowed Gaston a very lengthy discussion. Finally, he heads back to the dugout. So here comes Chamberlain, the 6th batter of the inning.
And oh, if he could get on, what kind of stage would we have set with the guy on deck?
That's right. Lenny Dykstra is on deck. He's already hit 2 home runs tonight. Has driven in 4 and scored 4. But first, Chamberlain with 282 with 12 homers during the regular season while platooning in right for the most part with Jim Eisenreich. He's up with first and second and 2 outs. 1 run in here in the 6th. Castillo's first pitch, a strike.
Any way you look at it, this young man's got to be pretty nervous. First at bat, might be his first at bat of the series. I'm not sure.
He has appeared briefly prior to tonight, but for the most part has been a spectator because of the right-handed starters thrown by Toronto. And Jim Fregosi says that Chamberlain all season long has accepted his platoon role well. He's only 27 years old. He'd like to play every day, obviously, but part of his process of maturing this year was accepting the platoon situation very well.
The numbers off that Phillies bench are amazing this year. I know you guys have touched on it many times, but it's good to see it's a 25-man game.
And Chamberlain strikes out, ending the inning. Just 1 run for Philadelphia. Mike Schmidt, thanks so much for the visit.
John, a pleasure to be here.
Thanks,
Jimmy,
Michael.
thank you. You guys do a wonderful job. Good luck the rest of the way. I'll be watching.
Millions of Canadians are afflicted with lung disease. For asthma sufferers, it could start with a shortness of breath. If you smoke, it might start with a nighttime cough. Regardless of how it starts, for 45,000 Canadians this year alone, it's going to end here. Please, give generously to your lung association so we can all breathe a little easier.
Cameco and the uranium mining industry are making a difference in communities like Porcupine Plain.
Cameco and the exploration industry purchased thousands of core boxes from us during the course of a year. Not only does this allow us to survive, but I think in real terms it allows our small rural community to survive as well.
The Porcupine Opportunities Real Work for Real Wages program gives challenged people more than jobs. It shows them what they can achieve.
The people who work here take a lot of pride in their work, and it shows.
Cameco, connected to Saskatchewan's communities.
Accidents happen. Here's what you do. Report the accident to SGI. Bring the white sheet that you get from them to the body shop at Sherwood Chevrolet. We will order the required parts. When they arrive, we will give you a free loaner to drive while we are repairing your vehicle. You notice that we work on all makes of cars and trucks. Free loaner, guaranteed work, no gamble. Sherwood Chevrolet on 8th Street East. We'll fix it right.
Something old is new again. Modern Cafe and Billiards.
Through 6 innings, the Phillies lead 13-9. They've out-hit the visitors 13-12. Neither team has made an error. And as we go to the 7th, the new pitcher for Philadelphia is Larry Anderson. He's the 4th Philadelphia hurler of the night.
Larry Anderson, the oldest reliever in the National League, 40 years old. The only pitcher older than Larry, Charlie Huff of the Florida Marlins. He's appeared in 2 games, worked 1 2/3 innings, and he has given up 2 earned runs on 3 hits. It's 13-9 Philadelphia, and a note just handed to us. The Philadelphia Eagles football team has only scored 16 points the last 2 weeks. So if the Phillies score 3 more runs, they'll catch them in points.
Troubles with injuries at quarterback. They might want to consider Lenny Dykstra. He's had no trouble putting points on the board tonight. And how about this? Tony Castillo is batting for himself. There are other options out there in the Toronto bullpen. Timlin, Eichhorn. Although you wonder if Eichhorn's appearance actually counts. He trotted all the way in, then they sent him back.
Well, I would imagine that Cito Gaston, all of a sudden, his emphasis has shifted over to getting someone out, figuring that if you can't get him out, it doesn't matter how many runs that are scored. I don't know if I agree with that particular point, but I believe that that's Cito's thinking right now, that Castillo stands a better chance of getting the Phillies out over the next 2 innings. Or 3 innings, as far as Cito is concerned. I guess if it goes to 3, it'll be Dwayne Ward in there.
Castillo called out on a 2-2 pitch on the inside corner.
That's the slot that Larry Anderson likes to hit more than any other spot. It's at the hands to left-handers, that slider, and down and away to right-handers.
Perhaps Cito Gaston is thinking, even if you give up for all intents and purposes the first out of the inning, the way this game is going, with only 2 outs with which to work, you might score 4 or 5 runs.
Yep. Certainly reasonable thinking, but usually in the 7th inning you just don't see that when you're trailing by 4.
Ricky Henderson, 1 for 3, a double in the first inning. He's also walked tonight. Larry Anderson spent 9.5 years in the minors before he finally established himself as a major league pitcher. He had brief appearances in the majors over that 9.5 years, but most of that time was spent in the minors. And so that experience made him learn to appreciate every aspect of being a major leaguer. The count on Henderson. Devon White on deck. Out in the bullpen, Mitch Williams has been doing some stretching. How could a game like this possibly end without Wild Thing entering it at some point? Two and two. $62,731 the paid attendance here tonight at the Vet. We'll be talking about this one for a long time. Henderson called out. Back-to-back strikeouts here in the 7th for Larry Anderson.
This slider starts inside and ends up over the middle of the plate, but you could see that tight spin of that slider to Ricky Henderson. The ball's actually right down the middle of the plate, but it started inside and fooled Henderson.
First pitch to White, apparently high. He has singled and doubled and walked. Has scored twice and has driven in 1. 13-9 Philadelphia in the 7th. The ball outside, 2-0. At the belt, a strike. Anderson has pitched with Cleveland, Seattle, the Phillies, Houston, Boston, San Diego, and back to the Phillies. A pop-up in foul ground, playable. Hollins puts it away. A 1-2-3 inning for Anderson. 7th inning stretch, 13-9 Philadelphia.
Labatt presents the World Series on CTV. Sponsored by SaskTel.
Gotta tell you about the SaskTel Long Distance Windfall Call Contest. Keep track of your long distance calls. When you've made 5, send them in to win. Or order one of these SaskTel Long Distance Savings Plans. You could win a new Pontiac Grand Am. Or one of 2 Macintosh computers from Apple, or one of hundreds of great prizes from SaskTel. Make every call count with the SaskTel Long Distance Windfall Call Contest. Entry forms in your mail or at SaskTel Telmarts.
Factory of a leading North American tire maker. They make excellent tires with the kind of traction and mileage life you need. In fact, they're so good, we chose them to make MotoMaster tires for Canadian Tire. So why don't we identify them? Maybe they're concerned that if you knew they also make MotoMaster tires, which come with a nationwide road hazard warranty at no additional charge and a great Canadian Tire price, everybody will buy MotoMaster tires. Maybe they're right. MotoMaster, quality automotive products for a lot less.
7th inning stretch, and this raucous crowd of the vet on its feet. Looking forward to the next at bat of Lenny Dykstra, who will lead off the bottom of the 7th. He has already had a huge night, 3 for 3. With a pair of 2-run homers, a double, and a walk. He has scored 4 times. And has stolen a base, and Castillo came up and in with the first pitch.
I think that was predictable. Lenny Dykstra with that great night. Dave Bristol, manager of the Reds, used to say it's a compliment to get knocked down. That means you're doing something. Coupled with the fact that Molitor was hit on the knee. Obviously, it was not intentional. You say obviously. You don't think it was intentional. Hit by David West.
Henderson was hit last night. Taking all the way, and it's 2-1. Good breaking ball. It had Dykstra bending out of the way. Dykstra, the first Philly ever with 2 home runs in a World Series game. This is only Philadelphia's 5th trip to the World Series. And the count has gone full. Dykstra, then Duncan and Kruk in the bottom of the 7th. The payoff pitch on the ground. Nice play by Alomar with the backhand. And they retire Dykstra for the first time tonight. Now look back at the 1977 World Series.
There's a fly ball to center field and deep. That's going to be way back, and that's going to be gone. Reggie Jackson has hit his 3rd home run of the game.
Dykstra might have another chance to hit his 3rd home run of tonight's game. That was game 6 of the 77 series. 3 consecutive home runs by Mr. October off Bert Hooton, Elias Sosa, and Charlie Huff. That really helped earn him the nickname of Mr. October. That memorable performance. Duncan with a foul ball that had the folks in the lower boxes off first, ducking quickly.
It's been done 3 times, 3 home runs in a World Series game. Babe Ruth did it twice, and Reggie Jackson once, and Dykstra with 2 tonight. and a possibility of hitting in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Or the bottom of the 9th, should the Blue Jays come back in time and take the lead.
It was interesting, the 7th inning stretch here, instead of singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," the fans were singing "Milkman Serenade."
Were they really?
It is so late. No, they weren't.
Oh, I was in the men's room. Sometimes you have to be brutally honest in this job. 3-1 the count. And the game is past the 3-hour mark. Duncan over the head of Castillo. Fernandez safe. And Duncan has his 3rd hit of the night. All of them singles. And that's 3 singles in his last 3 at-bats from Mariano.
Castillo tries for it. He can't get it, and by the time Fernandez makes a nice play, the throw's too late. Duncan just beats it.
He's at first with 1 out. There's been so much talk about the length of these games, and they have all been at least 3 hours and 16 minutes, the first 3. John Kruk, the batter. He is 0 for 4 tonight. Phillies have put 13 runs on the board without anything from Kruk. The longest 9-inning World Series game, 3 hours and 48 minutes. That was in 1979. Game between the Orioles and Pirates. This game started at 8:14 Eastern time, so we're at 3 hours and 10 minutes already, 38 minutes short of the record. And still a long way to go.
See Pat Borders looking over at Gene Tennis, who, by the way, was the MVP of the 1972 World Series. Tennis playing with the Oakland Athletics. They played the Cincinnati Reds, and he is flashing signs to Pat Borders. That's not for the pitch, the call of the pitch, but whether Borders should pitch out or not.
Was Tennis, the bench coach who took over and ran the Blue Jays a couple of seasons ago when Cito Gaston was out of commission with back problems. Cito said his back has been much less of a problem this year. It still bothers him from time to time, and a drizzly, damp, raw night like tonight can't help. Nor can the score. Fanatic is back. 37-year-old Dave Raymond inside that costume. Not only does he appear at every Phillies home game, but he makes 200 appearances outside of Veterans Stadium over the course of a year. It's a full-time job for Dave Raymond. And a job he does extraordinarily well. 3-2.
I think a story worth retelling. We told it in the League Championship Series. David Raymond's mother was hearing impaired, and he credits having to communicate with her throughout his life as helpful in communicating with the crowd here at Veterans Stadium.
Ball 4. Duncan was running with the 3-2 to Kruk. So Kruk is aboard for the first time tonight. That's the second walk thrown by Castillo, the 6th issued by Toronto pitching tonight. Phillies have scored in every inning except the 3rd. And they have 2 men on with 1 out here in the 7th for Dave Holland, who has scored 3 times tonight. Walked and scored in the 1st, had a bunt single and scored in the 5th, doubled and scored last inning. The Phillies lead 13-9 in the 7th. appeared to slip out of the hand of Castillo. 1-0 on Hollins. Even though the Phillies did not score in the third, the Blue Jays did. So there's been at least one run scored in every inning between these two teams tonight. And Hollins steps out with the count 1-1. Borders goes to the mound to speak with Castillo. That's Ed Sprague who handled the situation tonight with as much class as John Olerud did last night. The Blue Jay players involved in the maneuvering to get Paul Molitor into the lineup deserve a lot of credit. Matter of fact, before the game in the clubhouse tonight, Sprague was going over the scouting reports of the Philadelphia hitters with Paul Molitor and giving him advice on where he should position himself for each of the hitters. Check swing and a ball low. And another ball low on a count of 3-1 on Hollins with Darren Dalton on deck. Bases loaded. Back-to-back walks thrown by Castillo. He has pitched an inning and 2/3. And Galen Cisco, the pitching coach, is on his way to the mound.
The Blue Jays have two left-handed pitchers on their roster, and both have thrown a ton of pitches tonight. Both Al Leiter and Tony Castillo. So what that may do is take him out of action tomorrow night, which puts a lot of pressure on Juan Guzman, who'll be the starting pitcher tomorrow night, to go deep into the game against the Phillies. He didn't do that the first time. Matter of fact, he pitched 5+ innings, throwing 120 pitches.
There might be folks just tuning in now who think that these are the winning numbers in tonight's Pennsylvania lottery drawing.
Dow Jones average.
Best throughout. Yes, indeed. That's what it looked like. Started in the very first inning when the Blue Jays got 3 off Tommy Green, and the Phillies answered with 4 off Todd Stottlemyre. It's a 4-run lead for Philadelphia. They have a chance to break it wide open. Darren Dalton hit a 2-run homer in the 5th. He walked and scored back in the 1st. Borders thought the pitch was a strike. It was not a called strike, nor was it a swing, says Davey Phillips.
It was a slider. It looked like it was off the plate, and Dalton held up. Properly called.
And as that camera has demonstrated many times tonight, Charlie Williams has had a very good night calling the balls and strikes.
Yep.
2-0 the count. Bases full of Phillies. Duncan the runner at third. Kruk at second. And Hollins at first with 1 out. 13-9 Phillies in the 7th inning. Fouled out of play.
Darren Dalton has been up more than any other player in the major leagues this year during the regular season with the bases loaded 29 times.
it stays fair. It's gone. It is a foul ball. A low hooking line drive that didn't miss the pole by much.
He got the hook and hooked it.
And Castillo breathed a sigh of relief. Tim mentioned 29 times Dalton batted with the bases loaded. He went 8 for 20 and hit 2 grand slams. 30 of his 105 runs batted in during the regular season came out of bases loaded situations. The 2-2. Pulled foul past Mel Roberts in the first base coach's box. The 2-2 breaking ball apparently high, and now the count is full. There is no action in the Toronto bullpen. The payoff to Dalton. Did it hit him or is it a foul ball? Charlie Williams seemed to be indicating foul ball. Dalton thinks he was hit by the pitch. And now Charlie Williams is saying go to first, and he's waving the runner in, and that's going to bring Cito Gaston out to argue, because Williams threw his hands up in the air as if to indicate it's a foul ball.
Usually when an umpire does that, that means foul ball. There's another way of doing it by brushing one hand over another. That's another way of saying foul ball. But this ball did appear to hit Darren Dalton, or did it? Was that ball, did it hit the knob or the right hand? Look at the knob and how much exposure there is on the knob. Nope, looked like it hit the back of the right hand to me from that angle.
Very tough to tell.
Like a knob. From behind him, it looked like the knob. I think when an umpire is in doubt, the only thing that he can rely on that is usually genuine is the reaction of the player. A player can't think fast enough to act like it hit him. He's got to immediately grab something, and that's what Dalton did. And judging from that, the ball hit him, even though the pictures are inconclusive.
So another run for Philadelphia. 14-9. Eisenreich first ball swinging, and it's a pop-up. Kruk does not tag as Fernandez made the catch in shallow left. And tonight, folks, you have watched the highest scoring game in Major League Baseball postseason history. 23 runs. This is postseason game number 779 in Major League history. More runs have been scored tonight than in any other game.
I've always said 779 is a charm.
I've heard you say that many times. Milt Thompson fouled it off, rattled the mask of the umpire Charlie Williams. Thompson's had a great night. A 3-run triple in the first to give the Phillies a 4-3 lead. He doubled a drive and a run and scored in the 5th. Had an infield hit to drive in a run in the 6th. 5 runs batted in. The World Series record is 6, and he has a great shot to do it with 2 men in scoring position. Up the middle slowly. Alomar flips to Fernandez. They force Dalton, and that ends the inning. 1 run for the Phillies in the 7th. We go to the 8th. 14-9. Philadelphia.
A triumphant celebration. The Olympic Winter Games on CTV.
Gotta tell you about the SaskTel Long Distance Windfall Call Contest. Keep track of your long distance calls. When you've made 5, send them in to win. Or order one of these SaskTel Long Distance Savings Plans. You could win a new Pontiac Grandette. Or one of 2 Macintosh computers from Apple. Or one of hundreds of great prizes from SaskTel. Make every call count with the SaskTel Long Distance Windfall Call Contest. Entry forms in your mail or at SaskTel Telemarts.
The Esso Tiger team talks service.
The manager tells us, be honest with the customers because that's what they want.
Treat everybody with the same amount of care.
Small details like streaks on the windows.
The customer's a lot friendlier if you get out there quickly.
On the self-serve, we have a quick reset. Customers, they can just start pumping right away. The customer's response to our service is great.
When you take people from different Essos and you put them all together and everyone's doing an efficient job, then Esso must be doing something right.
You're on your way with Esso.
Richard Schickel, Time magazine, declares Fearless a remarkable film. Marvelously touching. Fearless soars. Jeff Bridges, Fearless.
Starts Friday, October 29th.
I want the truth, not a song and dance. I want better, not more expensive. I want a car I can afford and like. Hey, I just want my money's worth. Okay, actually, I want more than my money's worth.
Labatt presents the World Series on CTV. Sponsored by SaskTel.
Runs. A World Series record 23 runs for these 2 teams. The Phillies lead 14-9. They've been paced by Milt Thompson and Lenny Dykstra. They've combined to drive in 9. Dykstra has scored 4 times. Thompson has scored once. And we head to the 8th inning. Larry Anderson about to begin his 2nd inning of relief. He worked a 1-2-3-7. Roberto Alomar, Joe Carter, and John Olerud due up in the 8th. Alomar digs in with 2 hits and 4 trips. He singled a drive and a run and scored in the 6th against David West. Roberto's now 8 for 16 in the World Series. Anderson's first pitch of the 8th is strike 1. Like many relief pitchers, he works from the stretch even when there isn't anybody on base. And he's quickly ahead of Alomar 0-2.
That trend started about 8 years ago. I guess when Bruce Sutter was with the Cardinals about a decade ago, I suppose.
Shot down to third. Hollins just did get Alomar by a half step. This Sunday on the NFL Today, it's Terry Bradshaw's National Football Quiz. You know how many NFL coaches played in the league, or what famous kicker was known as the toe? Tune in Sunday and test your knowledge on the NFL Today, 12:30 Eastern Time. And there's the menu of NFL games that follows NFL Today. Atlanta and New Orleans, Green Bay and Tampa, the early games. Joe Carter, the batter. That's toward the gap in right center, and Eisenreich races over to cut it off. And Carter has his 2nd hit. 2 singles tonight for Joe. He's 2 for 5. Mike Timlin is warming up in the Toronto bullpen. And that's the first hit allowed by Larry Anderson. He's pitched an inning and a third. Now John Olerud.
And Kruk was holding Carter on initially, and Darren Daulton calling the attention to it from the bench. Actually, Darren to the bench, and they relayed that to Kruk. And John moved behind Joe Carter. No sense in holding a runner on. It's a remote chance for Carter to be running 5 runs down here in the 8th inning.
John Olerud says the first time he ever used a wooden bat was as a major leaguer. Through Little League and youth baseball, high school and college ball, he used a metal bat, aluminum bat, and then of course when he left Washington State, he went right to the majors without ever playing minor league baseball. His adjustment period to the wooden bat was as a major leaguer. He said that definitely affected him during his rookie year. Daulton out to the mound, the count 3-0. It is 14-9, but bear in mind that Mitch Williams and Kim Batiste have not yet appeared, and Williams is warming up in the Philadelphia bullpen. And that's ball 4. Anderson walks Olerud on 4 pitches. So the Blue Jays have only scored 2 runs since the 3rd. That's a very low scoring pace the way this game has gone. Have first and second and 1 out. And here comes Johnny Padres to the mound. He'll need a new pair of shoes when the game is over. And Mitch Williams has been throwing for several minutes now. Daulton joined in the discussion. The batter will be Paul Molitor. His playing third base tonight has not been a factor. He's handled the few chances he has had cleanly. He walked with the bases loaded in the first, singled and scored in the third, flied to right in the fourth, and was hit by a pitch on the knee in the 6th. Davey Phillips, the crew chief and third base umpire, came trotting in from his position toward the Toronto dugout as if to ask Cito Gaston a question, and has returned to his position. Ball 1 low and away. All of a sudden Anderson's control has deserted him. He's thrown 5 straight balls. Six in a row.
And think of the dilemma that is building for Jim Fregosi. I mean, Mitch Williams, his problem is walking people, and usually he does it a first or second guy in the inning because it takes a period of adjustment for him to get settled on the mound. So it's imperative that Anderson throws strikes and that the Phillies get an out. I'm sure that's what Fregosi is thinking right now. How perilous would it be to bring Mitch Williams in with the bases loaded regardless of the score?
Down to third. Fair ball. Hollins couldn't play it. Here comes Carter around to score. Olerud to third. Molitor to second. And the Blue Jays are in double figures. It's 14-10. Molitor with another hit, is second of the night and second RBI of the night. He's driven in 6 in the World Series.
It looked like Dave Hollins, going to his right, tried to feel this ball on the in-between hop. He thought it was going to bounce up, and it stayed down on him. Watch the glove go up. The ball went down, and Molitor has a double, and that's what Fregosi's going to do. He's going to take Anderson out now, bring Williams in because first base is open, and that gives him a little slack as far as walking guys are concerned.
The Blue Jays again have the tying run in the on-deck circle. Wild things in after this.
Well, with our volume, this could save us $2,500 in the first month alone. That's big news for us.
Express Post not only slashes my courier costs, delivers me the same peace of mind.
I like that.
It's designed to fill that gap.
It is right in the middle between mail economy and courier speed.
New Express Post. Faster than mail, cheaper than courier. With call-in confirmation. For your free trial, call 1-800-361-3113.
In 2 short years, how far can you take a family sedan? Over 3,000 punishing kilometers to twice win Rally Australia. And now we've pushed the Elantra even further in champion style and performance, whether it's Outback or out front. Introducing the 1994 Hyundai Elantra. It's not your ordinary family sedan.
The Natural Law Party is the only party with proven programs to solve Canada's problems and prevent future problems from arising. Don't waste your vote on failure. Success belongs to natural law.
It happens about 52 times a year, generally after the second cup of coffee. It's called Saturday. And for a lot of people, it means a trip to Canadian Tire, where Canadians can buy products they're proud to own at the price they want to pay. Top quality, guaranteed low prices. Maybe that's why people have been coming back for over 70 years of Saturdays. And all the other fine days, too. There's a lot more to Canadian Tire for a lot less.
CTV's Canada AM Weekend with Wei Chen and Dan Matheson. Be sure to start your weekend off right. Canada AM Weekend, every Saturday on CTV.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. Mitch Williams is in with 2 men in scoring position and 1 out in the 8th. 1 run in for Toronto. The lead is 14-10 for Philadelphia. This is the first game in postseason history that both teams have scored in double figures. It's the highest scoring game in Major League Baseball postseason history. The tying run is in the on-deck circle with Tony Fernandez at the plate. He's already knocked in 4 runs tonight.
And by the way, that ball hit by Molitor, I assumed it was a base hit. He was given an error on it from the get-go. Don't agree with that scoring. However, that's the way it stands.
Tough error charged to Hollins. It's the first error of the game. Base hit. Olerud scores. Molitor is stopped at third. And it's 14-11. And again, the Blue Jays will bring the tying run to the plate. Tony Fernandez with 5 runs driven in tonight. And 9 in this World Series. That is already a World Series record for shortstops with more games to come.
He has been up 5 times, and in 4 of those at bats, he has driven in at least 1 run. Hollins dives for it. Ball scoots on by him, and it was hit so sharply that Molitor has to stop at third.
Tying run at the plate. Pat Borders took ball 1 outside. That is Mitch Williams' fiancee Irene. They will be married on December 26th.
Doesn't look like even Irene wants to see this. She's got the bill down over her eyes. Just a peek, however.
Hollins guards the line. The 1-0 is a strike. Borders 1 for 4 tonight. He had an RBI single back in the 3rd. And the towel is back over the eyes of Curt Schilling. A familiar pose during this postseason. Outside.
Where's the husband say that?
2 balls and 1 strike. And 1 strike. Williams 1 ball away from putting the tying run on base and bringing the go-ahead run to the plate in the 8th inning. Porter swung away on 3-1 as Williams poured it right over the middle, and Porter's fouled it off.
Mitch Williams in there now. This might become the greatest game that nobody's ever seen. Gloves up in front of their face. Kurt Schilling, a towel in front of the face. Mitch's fiance with the cap down.
The All Sports radio station in town has been encouraging fans to bring towels and put them over their heads because for Schilling it's been good luck. Some of the fans have followed that suggestion.
Some of the players too.
Well, a lot of the Phillies and their fans don't like to watch when Mitch pitches. A lot of the Phillies players and coaches admit to going up the tunnel, so they don't have to watch. But more often than not, despite the theatrics as we've seen in this postseason, he gets the job done. Payoff pitch way outside. And the tying run is at first for Toronto. And still only 1 out in the 8th inning. The go-ahead run will come to the plate, and Ed Sprague is going to bat for the pitcher. And how ironic that the man who had to take a seat to allow Paul Molitor to play tonight comes up for the first time tonight with a chance to put his team ahead in the highest scoring World Series game ever with 1 swing of the bat.
He is a first ball hitter, a fastball hitter that is hitless against left-handed pitchers in the postseason.
On the corner, well framed by Dalton.
Sprague thought it was outside. Was it? Could have been.
The 0-1. Pop fouled out of play, and Sprague just off the bench after watching for nearly 4 hours now is in the hole 0-2. He had a memorable pinch hit home run in game 2 of last year's World Series off Jeff Reardon to give Toronto a victory. The 0-2, strike 3. He went to the breaking ball, and the pitch called on the outside corner.
Now that slider for an 0-2 pitch with Dalton framing the pitch, bringing it back to his body, looked like it had enough of the plate. May have been just off the corner, but certainly close enough to be called a strike.
Now Ricky Henderson. At strike 1. He's 1 for 4. First inning double. He walked in the 3rd. Philadelphia 14, Toronto 11 in the 8th inning. Bases loaded and 2 outs for the Jays. Henderson is the 8th batter of the inning. Low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Molitor, the runner, at 3rd. Fernandez at 2nd. Borders at 1st. The 1-1. Line to center. Dykstra can't get it. 2-run score. And the Blue Jays are within a run. It's 14-13. Ricky Henderson has silenced his critics in the last 2 games. Those are his first 2 runs batted in this World Series.
2 hits last night, 2 hits tonight. What a big hit this was. Dykstra respecting the power of Henderson, especially with the tying run on at first base. Can't afford to give up a gapper. And a ball possibly that normally Dykstra would have caught drops in front of him.
So 4 runs in the inning for Toronto. 3 of them charged to Anderson, 1 charged to Williams. He's responsible for the 2 base runners. The tying run is at second. The go-ahead run at first with 2 outs. In the 8th, Devon White slams one just foul. White facing his former roommate in winter ball from about a decade ago, Mitch Williams, and Devon has had the upper hand when they've gone head-to-head. White is 3 for 5 in his career against Mitch Williams, including a home run.
And a loud foul.
Apparently she did not have a towel. The 0-1 outside. White is the 9th batter of the inning. The second time the Blue Jays have batted around the ball game. They did it in the 3rd. Big swing and a foul tip into the middle of Dalton. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The 1-2 pitch. Little looper. Long run for Dykstra in right center. Can't get it. Borders around with the tying run. Henderson to the plate with the go-ahead run. 15-14 Toronto.
A slicing triple for Devon White that gives the Blue Jays the first lead that they have had since the 3rd inning.
Down to 3rd. Off the bat of Alomar. Hollins throws him out, and that ends the inning. 6 runs in the 8th. 15-14 Toronto.
Now, with a Coca-Cola Sports Break, here's Rod Black.
Yes, it could be a full moon tonight. We're not quite certain. Bottom of the 8th in a moment. Hang in there. It still might not be over. When last we saw you, an entire hockey game has been near completed. The Calgary Flames and Edmonton Oilers. Flames leading 4-2 late in the 3rd in Northlands. So the game's completed now. To Tampa Bay and Los Angeles, Chris Gratton, the slap shot and the goal. Gratton from Brantford. Big night for the Brantford boys named Gretzky. Wayne against Brent. Wayne Gretzky with a goal and 2 assists. The feed to Thomas Sandstrom. Brent didn't have any points tonight. LA wins. They're unbeaten in 7. The Devils and the Ducks tonight. Stéphane Richer to Corey Millen. And the Devils are on a streak to begin the season. 6-0 to start, their best start ever. Later, it's Randy McKay with the goal. Jacques Lemaire has to be smiling at his Devils as they are only behind the Leafs, who are 7-0 to start the season. Also tonight, Quebec and Hartford. Martin Ruchinski will bang one in for the Nordique here on the power play. Good night for the Nordique against the Hartford Whalers. Joe Sakic set up here for what eventually proved to be the winner. 5-2 Quebec wins. One other game, Paul DiPietro with 2 goals as Montreal beats Dallas 5-2. Back to World Series batting practice in a moment.
If you're looking for a way to move around a large group and a few of their things, check out a Chevy Astro. It offers enough cargo space to equip an all-star hockey team and enough room to comfortably seat a forward line, 2 defensemen, and a goalie. That's included. And with standard 4-wheel anti-lock brakes,
Astro makes it a snap. Gee! Getting the home team safely home. Watch the knees, watch the knees.
Remarkable games in baseball history. The Toronto Blue Jays, with 6 runs in the 8th, have taken a 15-14 lead over Philadelphia. Sean McDonough with Tim McCarver. The go-ahead hit, the triple by Devon White, his third hit of the night. He's lacking only the home run for the cycle. And we could go up and down the lineups of both teams and say similar things, but this has been incredible. The most amazing baseball game I've ever witnessed.
Unbelievable. If you're keeping score at home, you're out of ink and out of paper just like we are. It's like a chicken has run across my scorecard.
Well, find another pen or pencil because you're going to have to make some more notations. Mike Timlin comes on to pitch for the Toronto Blue Jays as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Now, bear in mind, the Phillies trail, but they've scored in every inning except the third tonight. 10 men to the plate in the top of this inning for the Blue Jays. Roberto Alomar started the inning and ended it. He made 2 of the 3 outs. Kevin Stocker leads off. Mickey Morandini is in the on-deck circle to bat for Williams. And then Dykstra will be up third. Dykstra already with 2 home runs and a double tonight. Stocker is 0 for 3. He walked in the 6th against Castillo. Timlin's first pitch a strike. Ed Sprague is on the bench. They elected not to keep him in the game at third base, so Molitor is still at third. Would have involved putting Timlin in Molitor's spot, and it would have meant that Timlin would have been the third batter in the top of the 9th. And Sprague would have hit 6th.
And I think you're thinking of offense if you're a manager, because all of the pitchers have had tough times getting hitters out tonight.
1-2. Timlin, a hard-throwing right-hander, facing the 23-year-old rookie Stocker. Mike making his 2nd appearance in this World Series. Pitched an inning and 2/3 of scoreless ball in his first outing. And he has a strikeout of Stocker with the breaking ball for the first out of the 8th.
Timlin just off the corner inside, but just like out on Ed Sprague, with the pitcher ahead of the hitter, usually he's going to get a pitch like that if the catcher is there, and Borders was.
Now Mickey Morandini batting for the pitcher. He hit .247 during the regular season. He has not started a game in the World Series. He took a strike on the corner. Mariano Duncan was more or less platooned with Morandini at second base over much of the regular season. Has been hot with the bat, and that has meant that Morandini has watched most of the action in this World Series. Dykstra is on deck. Foul tipped into the middle Borders. If this remains a 9-inning game and we do not go to extra innings, it will be the longest 9-inning game in World Series history. It's already the highest scoring. Breaking ball, got him. Timlin with back-to-back strikeouts in the 8th.
Boy, he has made 2 pitches, 1 on Stocker, and now this nasty slider to get Morandini. That is a perfect position right in on the hands to the pinch hitter, Mickey Morandini. And now Cito Gaston, understandably, wants to talk to Timlin about Dykstra. There's only been 1 error in this game, which means that with 29 runs scored, ERAs are going to soar. That's another thing that will probably be out of reach once this series is over. Pitchers' ERAs.
And of course, the 1 error was a bad error in our opinion, given by the official scorers to Hollins on a very tough ball down the line. He had the backhand, never got a glove on. And Gaston apparently will summon his ace closer Dwayne Ward, despite the back-to-back strikeouts by Timlin. He appeared to gesture to the bullpen a moment ago, and Ward will indeed come on. With 2 outs and the bases empty, Dykstra coming up when we come back.
When we at Nissan saw Lexus do a test like this to show how well their car is put together, we were very impressed. So we decided to try it on the Nissan Altima. You can imagine how pleased we were when our car's tolerances tested as accurately as theirs. Because ours is an entirely different kind of luxury sedan. It's an affordable one, the Nissan Altima.
John Chrétien's job creation plan is a joke.
Chrétien with his job creation schemes, and he just doesn't seem to be with it.
He does not say where the money is coming from.
So far, he's been very vague about his own policies.
Jean Chrétien has really lost touch with reality.
I see him as very short-sighted. And Jean Chrétien isn't doing anything to create long-term planning. I don't think Jean Chrétien thinks long-term.
Jean Chrétien, I don't believe, has a credible plan for Canada in the 1990s.
Think twice.
Subway's steak and cheese sub is not only delicious, it's easy to eat anywhere. To prove that fact, I'm going to eat my dinner here at the rodeo. No one's ridden rocket launcher for more than 8 seconds, so I'll have to eat fast, but you'll want to take your time to really savor tender steak and cheese on our fresh baked bread. One bite and you'll agree, Subway makes great steak!
Now when you buy one steak and cheese sub with a medium soft drink, you can get a regular 6-inch sub for just 99 cents at Subway.
Well, at least I get a meal on this flight.
Labatt presents the World Series on CTV. Sponsored by Labatt Blue. Honest and true, you bet it's blue. Imperial Oil and Esso Associates. You're on your way with Esso. Your local bottler of Coca-Cola. Always the real thing. Always Coca-Cola.
On is Dwayne Ward. Warms up with 2 outs and the bases empty in the bottom of the 8th. Toronto with 6 runs in the top of this inning. He's taken a 15-14 lead, and Ward is making his 3rd appearance.
This is an interesting move. The Blue Jays and Phillies, 29 runs, most runs scored in a World Series game. That's by 2 teams, and it's 7 more than the Yankees and Giants did in 1936. Left-handed batters batting .350 against Dwayne Ward in the postseason, and 3 home runs, including one last night by Milt Thompson.
And Dykstra has 2 home runs already tonight. The first pitch is strike, and that has Dykstra barking at Charlie Williams.
Dykstra thought it was outside. If it was, it wasn't much.
And I believe Williams is hollering back at him. Timlin departs, having struck out the 2 men he faced. That is clearly outside. 1-1 on Dykstra. He walked, stole second, and scored in the first. Hit a 2-run homer in the second. Doubled and scored in the fourth. The ball that just missed being a home run. And he hit a 2-run home run in the fifth. Last time up, he bounced out to Alomar. Strike. That was definitely outside.
Farther outside than the first one. Yep.
Well, that might have been the byproduct of the hollering that Dykstra did at Charlie Williams.
Could be.
Strike 3. He's called out on the breaking ball. Timlin and Ward combined to strike out the side in the 8th. We go to the 9th, 15-14.
This is the office where our Ford truck engineers get a lot of work done. Because by knowing firsthand how a full-size pickup ought to work, they can make it work even better. That's why the Ford F-Series now has a new standard airbag, standard anti-lock brakes, and constant ideas to make tough even tougher. More proof that at Ford, we're looking ahead and looking to stay ahead. Ford F-Series, built Ford tough.
You think you're big time?
Pacino.
You're gonna die big time!
De Palma.
Never give up your friends, Dave. You are the only person that I can trust. I ain't going back to prison no matter what. If I ever see you here again, you die just like that.
Academy Award winner Al Pacino.
Got a dream, baby.
Carlito's Way. Exclusive engagement November 10th. Starts November 12th everywhere.
Well, up here, the blues are everywhere. Well, you know, well, late at night,
cars.
Sharing the blues with lots of people just seems natural.
Like all great blues, ours have a quality